What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you some envelopes that I recently got back in the mail, and I'm just going to jump right into these. One of these, I'm going to tell you, thank goodness for forever stamps, because I sent this request and I've already opened it off camera. I'm not going to open it during the video because I was like, who the heck is this when I got it back in the mail? And all I have to say is thank goodness for forever stamps. I can't even tell you when I last used those stamps. So one of these returns, I'd say at least a 4-year to 5-year return. I started my channel in early 2018, late 2017, and I've been doing through the mail videos ever since then. I sent this easily, I would say 2 to 3 years before this channel existed. That's how long of a return this was. So I'm not going to talk too much more about the length of this return, but what I am going to do is show you who it is, and it is a return from Mighty Mouse himself, Damon Stoudamire, on 1, 2, and 3. And I had written these off. As a matter of fact, I can't even tell you when I sent these because that was before I was even keeping track of when I sent and who I sent to. Now I keep track of everybody in a notebook, basically a handwritten notebook. You know, for example, I would write Damon Stoudamire sent, August of 2019, for example. And then I would know at least when I sent it and how long it took to get back. This was before I was keeping track of who I wrote in a notebook. So normally I send 4 cards to somebody. I would assume that maybe I sent a 4th and maybe he kept it, which is perfectly fine. But this just proves don't give up on your mail, because one day it may come back. And I don't know if there's been anybody else that has gotten Damon Stoudamire back that sent from 5 years ago. If you have, definitely let me know. But let me talk about Damon Stoudamire a little bit. So Damon Stoudamire grew up in Oregon, attended high school in Portland, Oregon as well. However, attended Arizona for his college basketball. While at Arizona, he excelled on the court, leading the Wildcats to many victories, which led him to being drafted in the first round of the 1995 NBA draft with the 7th overall pick by the Toronto Raptors. Well, at the time, the Toronto Raptors were a new franchise, and they put Damon Stoudamire basically in the starting lineup as the starting point guard, and he responded, scoring 19 points a game his rookie season, leading him to the Rookie of the Year award in 1995-96 for the Raptors. He would spend a couple more seasons with the Raptors until February of 1998, when the Raptors chose to trade Damon back to his hometown, Portland Trail Blazers. He would spend the next 8 seasons with his hometown Portland Trail Blazers, scoring over 12 points a game and nearly 6 assists per game. This will be the team that Stoudamire would spend most of his career with in Portland. And after the 2004-2005 season, the Trail Blazers decided to not re-sign Stoudamire, and he signed with the Memphis Grizzlies. He would spend the next 3 seasons, or I should say the next 2 seasons and part of the next season, playing for Memphis, and would be, kind of a part-time starter for the Grizzlies. But in the 2007-2008 season, he was let go by the Grizzlies about midway through the season, and the San Antonio Spurs signed him a couple days later, and he finished the 2008 season on San Antonio's bench, being the backup point guard to Tony Parker. So after the 2007-2008 season, Stoudamire did retire from the NBA at the age of 34 years old. In total, he spent 14 years in the NBA, playing for 4 different franchises, and then he got into the coaching ranks. He started out in the coaching ranks at Rice University, After his time at Rice, he would return to the Memphis Grizzlies for a couple seasons, but then would land a job as an assistant at the University of Memphis for a few seasons, but then would return to Arizona as a coach, then would go back to the Memphis Tigers basketball program until finally he would get the head coaching job at the University of Pacific in California. However, in the 2019-2020 season, he had a 23-10 record as the head coach for Pacific University. In 2020, he won the WCC Coach of the Year award and also won the Ben Job Award, which is the top minority head coach in Division I men's basketball. So as of right now, Mr. Stoudamire is the head coach at Pacific University. I could not tell you where I sent these cards. I want to say that I sent these to Arizona, possibly Memphis. So I am very happy to get these back. I do not know if Mr. Stoudamire signs through Pacific University or not. You certainly could try that route. I could not tell you where I sent these, whether this was to one of his former employers or to his residents. So if you do decide to ride Stoudamire, I wish you the best of luck, but you might have a long wait ahead of yourself. Alright, so this next one is postmarked from St. Louis, Missouri, and it is from one of my favorite basketball players ever, and that's simply because he attended St. Louis University, and that is former Sacramento King Anthony Bonner on 1, 2, 3, and 4 as a New York Knick. And Anthony Bonner attended high school in St. Louis, and then he went on to play at St. Louis University, where he was drafted by the Sacramento Kings with their first round pick. The bulk of his NBA career was with the Sacramento Kings from 1990 to 93. Then he would go to the New York Knicks, playing off the bench for the Knicks during their successful years in New York. But after the 1995 season with New York, he split time between the Orlando Magic and also playing overseas in Europe. Well, after the 1996 season, he would not return to play in the NBA, but would play another decade in European basketball for various teams throughout Europe, basically. And he did return to the United States in 2003 and 2004, playing in the CBA for the Great Lakes Storm. However, the rest of the time he spent playing overseas. In total, he averaged 6.9 points and 5 rebounds a game. He was kind of one of those small forward, power forward types. I would say very similar to like an Xavier McDaniel type of player, if you know who that is. Wasn't really a small forward, wasn't really a power forward, but he could play both positions. After his playing career, he moved back to the St. Louis area. I don't know a whole lot about what he did after his playing career, but I can tell you what he's doing now because he sent a testimonial card, and as you can see it's bent in half, no big deal. He sent a testimonial card along with the autographs back in the mail, and as you can see at the bottom, it says Minister Anthony Bonner. And I'm not going to read the entire testimonial to you, but as you can see, he did not sign this or anything, but it does say Minister Anthony Bonner, so this is kind of a unique little collectible to be thrown in an envelope because I had no clue, actually, that Mr. Bonner was now a minister. So I think that's pretty neat what he now does post-playing career. But I'm very happy because, again, growing up outside the St. Louis area, I went to a couple St. Louis University games, and this guy's jersey's hanging in the rafters. He's the all-time leading scorer in St. Louis University history. So I definitely wrote him, telling him that I was such a huge fan of St. Louis University and wanted his autograph. So thank you very much, Mr. Bonner, for signing those for me. Okay, this final one is postmarked from Rhode Island, and I know I did not send these to Rhode Island, but maybe I did. And this is from Hall of Famer Coach Jim Calhoun on 1, 2, 3, and a 4th. So let me tell you a little bit about Jim Calhoun. Calhoun was born in Massachusetts, and he attended college briefly at Lowell State, but then eventually resurfaced at American International College, located in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is also the home of the Basketball Hall of Fame. He completed his tenure at college playing on the basketball team, and after graduation he got his first job coaching in high school in Old Lyme, Connecticut. He would coach all the way through 1972 in high school, leading his then team, Dedham High School, to a perfect season, winning the state championship. And he would be offered the head coaching position at Northeastern University in Boston. At the time, Northeastern University was a Division II school. However, he would help them transition to Division I status during his tenure there. After his time at Northeastern in May of 1986, Calhoun was hired as the head coach of the University of Connecticut. His first season was not so great, as he went 9-19 for the Huskies. However, the next year he would go 20-14 and get an invitation to the NIT tournament. He would coach UConn for another decade and would win his first national championship in 1999 when they defeated Duke to win the national championship. Calhoun would lead the Huskies to another national championship in 2004. In 2005, Calhoun would achieve 2 major milestones in his coaching career. Number one, he would get his 700th win, and also later that year in 2005, he would be elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. In 2011, Calhoun would win his 3rd national championship, defeating the Butler Bulldogs in a 53-41 win. He would coach another season with UConn, but in September of 2012, he would retire from UConn, closing a 26-year career coaching at UConn as the Huskies head coach. Retirement would not last long, however, for Calhoun, as on September 18, 2018, it was announced that Calhoun would return coaching at nearby University of St. Joseph in West Hartford, Connecticut, becoming an NCAA Division III coach. He would continue to coach through 2019-2020 with St. Joseph. I sent this request to Mr. Calhoun before the whole COVID mess started, I guess. And I saw that I got this return back a little while back, but I just didn't have any other basketball returns to share with you, so I was kind of holding on to it. But I was almost in the point that I'm like, I may never see these cards again because of the whole virus outbreak. I am so fortunate that these made their way to Mr. Calhoun, and he signed these in wonderful, great blue Sharpie. I'm very happy to get these basketball returns back of Mr. Bonner, Mr. Calhoun, and going back to what I said at the beginning of this video, never give up on your returns because you just don't know how quickly they may come back to you. So thank you very much, Mr. Stoudamire, Mr. Calhoun, and Mr. Bonner for signing. These are some great basketball autographs to have in any collection. And I want to thank you for joining me for another episode, and happy collecting.